Yes, and friends, do not forget that communication and relations are two sides of the same coin. No communication, no relation, and vice versa, no relation, no communication. Relation has to be started, built up, enhanced, cherished and continued. Okay. And for this, communication is the first step, last step and is a continuous backdrop on the settings of relationship, is not it? You can't start a relationship anyhow unless and until you have an icebreaker. Even while dealing with a stranger in a party or an unknown person passing along a road, we give a waving gesture or shake hand with an introduction. So, everything starts with communication. One has to ask oneself how much communication I have for a given any kind of relation. The height of communication decides the depth of relation. Philosophically and practically, and I repeat, philosophically and practically, communication is a necessary, although not a sufficient condition for a relationship to happen. Trust, love, respect, caring, sharing, nurturing are also needed, but without communication, no use of them. The first thing is that we should understand communication is the dynamics of the entire relationship. Now, in your case of an academic educational institute, as a leader, you are having relation with your subordinates, team members, teachers, professors, students, etc. But in this relation, there are 5 relationships that are existing behind or lurking behind. The first and the foremost is the human to human relation. You as a boss or a leader are a human being, and so are your juniors, your colleagues, staff members, etc. Irrespective of age, gender, qualification, seniority, we as humans are all equal. We as humans have same sensations, aspirations, emotions, feelings, sentiments. Hence, come what may and come what, we should treat others with this spirit and feeling of equality, respect, basic human dignity, empathy and compassion. Well, kindness will automatically follow. So, this first dynamic or the first relation in a relation is we all or us feeling. The second type of relation is social. We are all social beings. We want to be together. We can't say that I do not care for others and live in isolation. Sometimes in anger and an emotional hijack bad trip, we might blabber it, but we do not mean it, is not it? Our goals, our desires and aspirations can't be fulfilled unless and until people are with us. You can't function as an academic leader on a deserted island or on Antarctica or Arctic Ocean or an uninhabited forest. Can you? No, you can't. So, this second is a social feeling from me to me and we. All the social norms, etiquettes hence must be followed. The third is hierarchical or power relations. Do not forget that you have come on this mother earth 20 to 30 years ago before all your juniors. Reverse the fact and the things could have been different. Your juniors might have been your leaders, your bosses, if they were born 25 years before you, is not it? Power, authority, authenticity and responsibility all go hand in hand. Of course, your talent, intelligence, hard work, sincerity, patience, post graduation and PhD degrees, qualifications, experience, mastery and expertise in your subjects, your specialization and super specialization have contributed in a huge way in your success and achievement and in the making and taking of this leadership chair and position in which you are in presently. But then see to it that you have a only healthy pride and a joy out of it and not an ego or vanity or grandiosity or superiority complex and a bossy, pushy, dominating aggression. Importantly, do not overuse, misuse, abuse your power. The next relationship, especially with students apart from teachers, is teacher student or a guru shishya, okay, is an also a service giver and a service taker kind of relationship. Service in terms of knowledge giving service, not a social service, though it has a huge social impact, and along with doctors or medicine profession, teaching is a noble service and a noble profession. Students and their parents have paid teaching fees or your mandhan on which the education institute and your salaries are running, isn't it? Please do not forget that. Just like patient is a Maibap feeder of a doctor, students and their parents, and one of the parent might be a teacher also himself or herself, isn't it, are philosophically your Maibap feeders or and teachers. And the last relation is actual senior professor with a junior professor or a junior professional colleague, and in the same above mentioned teacher student relation, you are going to lead and orchestrate this academic show. This is like a parenting of a human intelligence. You are going to nurture somebody's intellectual growth, progress and development. So, you are also a nurturing agent. It would be satisfying on your part as a nurturing guru that you offer them safety, security on one side, one hand, and a favorable academic and emotionally healthy and a stable environment for an academic and holistic excellent kind of growth. So, in one way, your academic teaching staff, administrative and non-teaching staff and students are your academic intellectual babies. Handle them with care and a tender touch of humanity. They need those strokes from you. Now, most of the problems in our social as well as professional world and relationship are communication problems. What are they? They are number 1, lack of communication, 2, unhealthy methods, 3, wrong hidden intentions, 4th, implied communication, 5th, improper articulations, and the last or the 6th is choice of words is wrong. Lack of communication, this is worst of all. Not giving clear cut communication as regards policies, norms, terms and conditions, instructions to subordinate at necessary minutest of detail is the problem. Not telling them as regards what you exactly expect from them. Another one is role ambiguity and role conflict. Role ambiguity is that the team member or a staff is not exactly told as regards what he or she is supposed to do and what I am not supposed to do. I am not supposed to do means he or she is not supposed to do. Say for example, you give some big task to 3 teachers to do and none of them is told as regards who is supposed to do what. Giving clarity as regards your expectations, duties, roles and responsibilities is very important. Role conflict is either intrapersonal or interpersonal. So, we are moving from role ambiguity to role conflict now. So, here in interpersonal is our point of discussion, not intrapersonal. The best example is one teacher does one thing as regards something and either you or other teacher does exactly opposite of that, or someone should do something. Everybody thinks that anybody can do it, but no one does anything. All this is due to lack of communication. Unhealthy methods are aggressive communication, being full of criticism, fault finding, dehumanizing a person, denigrating, insulting in front of others, hitting and targeting his identity rather than behavior and action. Pessimistic communication is dealing not in aggression, but continuously pointing out to only weaknesses, mistakes and faults in front of others or maybe in absence of others to that person, being only negative. Passive aggression communication is projecting your anger in a subtle way or changing a target of your anger. Example, at home you have fought with your spouse and in your office or at workplace you are ventilating that anger on your personal assistants, secretary or staff member. It also consists of sarcasm and taunting. Please do not do that. That is very mean and unprofessional. In implied communication, you mean one thing and say another or say in a very vague manner, where opposite person is left to chance to take any meaning of what you have said. Sometimes you intend to tell one thing and you say something different and the person instructed does not do because he has not understood its seriousness as you have not told him your intentions. The last two are wrong articulation. The confusion caused in saying or listening, especially letters or syllabi like P, B, D, etc. Okay. So, for that P, B, D words, especially when you are talking on the phone, specify well, B for Bombay, yeah, or D for Delhi, P for Pune, something like that, okay, because you say P and the other person hears D, okay. And wrong choice of words, that is important. Better would be to use and say, for example, you want a person not to be present in your room when you are talking to some guest, then the best way to say than saying may I request you to give us a private time, which is better than saying please go away or leave the room, yeah. So remember this.